These are the men who live under the rocket. They're from Hampshire and the Hebrides, and they're a long way from home. They're a colony of strangers tending strange machines in a wilderness. This is the rocket range at Woomera, South Australia. It lies 300 miles north of Adelaide, a cluster of houses and tin test shops stuck out in the Never Never, served by a bone-shaking track across the plain, a tea and sugar train on Tuesdays, and an airstrip. And even the sheep, the Australians say, have to carry passes in their woolly vests. Woomera was chosen precisely because it is in the middle of nowhere, far from inquisitive eyes, easy to guard. A testing ground for all the latest and most secret advances in British Commonwealth rocket research. Its range reaches clear across the wastelands of Australia and beyond, 2,300 miles away, to Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean. The town is laid out as neatly as any model, its bungalows as gaily painted as children's toys. The houses are well equipped, cheap to rent. For Michael Lee, a REME corporal from Lyndhurst in the New Forest, Woomera is the best overseas posting you can get. His wife Diana emigrated here from Anglesey. They met and married in Woomera. Michael and Diana can even travel to work together. There are strings of buses to take them out to the range in the morning and bring them back at night. The rocket range is 25 miles away, isolated for safety. But about the only accidents so far out there have been from cars colliding with kangaroos on the roads. You can go to Woomera only if you have an authorized job there. But the range is really the top secret place, wired in, locked, guarded and patrolled. And for Diana, there'll always be something weird and mysterious about the instrumentation building where she works. It's like some outpost on another planet. Michael goes off to work only half a mile away, but all Diana knows of his work is that he helps to get the rockets ready for firing. This place is the brains of the range. It controls the firing and collates all the data on the rockets as the instruments track them through the skies across Australia. Diana is operator of the central timing unit, where the countdown to a rocket's firing is done. You know, 4, 3, 2, 1, whoops. The rocket tends to dominate the lives of all who work under it and around it. They talk rocket shop and even tell shaggy rocket stories. Its power and all the hush-hush may make it seem a little sinister, but living under a rocket is very easygoing and carefree. Even when the big VIPs come through to inspect the place. Mr. Hume, the Australian Minister of Supply, was around to take a look. But there's no snapping to attention, no formality. Woomera is too hot, too far away from everything for people to want to spend too long here. This store is the only one in Woomera, but it can supply almost every comfort you can think of. It's run by the Army. Who would have thought of beauty specialists way out in a place like Woomera? Or of top hairdressers? These women who run it left a thriving business in the most fashionable street in Adelaide to come here. They actually prefer it here. But then it's odd how many city Australians become attached to the outback life, wild as it is. Woomera is very much a man-made oasis. That large egg there holds 2 million gallons of water in storage, fed entirely by a pipeline from the River Murray, 250 miles away. In summer, it's like an oven, with a thermometer always round the 100 mark. Just the same, you can't stop people from making the desert a home from home. The village runs a free nursery garden, which experiments with the raising of all sorts of plants and shrubs, and passes these on to the householders of Woomera. This is the home of Aubrey Riley, the works officer, which he's built into one of the show homes of the village. The Rileys' barbecues are a byword. But most striking of all is their bar. It's inlaid with pure opals. Riley, a former Australian rugby international and a man of fabulous energy, dug the opal himself from the mines of Andamuka, 75 very rugged miles away. And there it is. Digging for opal is one of the hobbies of the livelier Woomerites. At weekends, those with the energy to spare trek way across the stony desert to the Andamuka opal fields, a cluster of houses dug into the hillsides. Even the Aborigines who drift in are collecting a tidy living by combing over the miners' leavings, as these visitors are doing, for chips of opal stone. Whatever the rewards, it's a better living than hunting for food in the harsh wilderness around Woomera, where even natives have been known to perish from thirst. But civilization has spread to Andamuka, and these Aboriginal kiddies are tasting its delights. Ice is. The rocket range is on sheep country, like this, but its saltbush and bluebush sustains little over 20 sheep to the square mile, and nearby stations like this one at Arkuna cover many thousands of square miles. A whole new generation is growing up in Woomera. There are 2 kindergartens, a convent, and a fine modern school. There are well over 1,000 children here now, and their numbers are rocketing. Any girl with marriage in mind has simply to apply for a job up in Woomera. For every single girl, there are 5 eager young men. But the most imposing figure Woomera has to offer is this. It has a little over 500 married women, yet a new baby is born there every second day. Well might they put these notices up. And the rate is steadily rising. Every day our cameras turned there, a new little Woomerite came into the world. It's a comforting fact that right under the shadow of these weapons of destruction, the people seem to know a happiness and a security that is promoting the highest birth rate in the British Commonwealth. But the sum total of its solid churches, its store, its 2 cinemas, its bowling greens, its astonishing gardens in the desert, its coming to terms with the wilderness and its fauna, none of these things seems able to stamp Woomera with any air of permanence. The churches have a missionary air in a frontier town, a town destined to last only as long as our need will last for dangerous missiles, and no longer. So you may now be looking at a ghost town of the future, one to put alongside the deserted gold rush camps of 100 years ago. But if Woomera closed tomorrow, it would leave more than a few rocket trails in the sky to remember it by. It'll leave a memory of the beauty some people can create out of nothing. Woomera will also bequeath to the world nearly 1,000 husky young Australians, all born under the rocket in the last 5 years.